So we know who you are.
Hi, Robert.
But who are you? Just
my name is Loïc Lemer.
Yeah.
I'm a French entrepreneur. I live in San Francisco, and I created a few internet companies in Europe. It's my fifth. They're very small. They're not like a Netscape, right? I'm hoping to do like a Netscape now, and I do two things right now. One is the Le Web Conference, which
just happened.
That's
why we're joking around about the French thing.
So I think most international conference, honestly, in the world, I think, in the tech, web business, it's
it's very impressive.
2/3 international and only 1/3 French. Yeah. And so it's more like, it's not a European conference, it's an international conference in Paris, as you know. And I also do Sismic. So this is my wife, Geraldine, who is doing everything. I'm just like emceeing.
Yep.
And I do Sismic, which is...
well, tell me about, let's start with Sismic, because last night you turned on a complete new redesign and new features. What were the 3 best new things that you just turned on last night?
Oh, there is nothing new.
There's everything's new. no black.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Mike Arrington at TechCrunch said it was a great improvement, right? Because you turned it from black to white.
Basically, what we've done is we learned from the community that they wanted something much lighter, and so we completely stopped using a big flash, and it's very light, it's very easy to load. It doesn't suck your laptop battery, because the big flash site was like too much compute processing power.
Yeah.
So it's light, it's fast, it's SEO compliant. All your videos, can have metadata.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we have title, description, and we took special care of this. We have the most exciting thing is probably in the back end, actually.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. So you were the first person to use the worldwide talk show with me.
Yeah.
Right? And I really keyed in on that, and I've seen, I think next year is going to be the breakout year for what I call the live web, or the real-time web. And tell me about...
I call it the instant web.
The instant web?
It's the same, yeah.
Same thing.
I don't like microblogging, because I think microblogging is too narrow.
Yeah.
It's really, really narrow. It's not about microblogging, right? It's about sharing all day long with your friends. I cannot live without it anymore.
Well, this video will be part of this live web when it gets posted later this week. And this is not going to be a microblog, right? It's going to be a long conversation.
Exactly.
So.
Think about the Huffington Post, which is a huge success, right? It's thousands of writers, it's quality. But to get to that point, first you need millions of blogs, and then you get the best. You get TechCrunch, you get, I don't know, all those great blogs. I think the same will happen in video. Just the same. That will have thousands of, amazing content producers. It started with podcasting, but it has not taken off yet.
Yeah.
It's really, slowly growing. And
well, it's a lot harder to consume this, right? Then a Twitter post goes by, you scan through 10 or 15 Twitter posts in something like your other tool, which we'll talk about, and you can scan them really fast, right? Video, you have to, one, you have to get interested in the video, because it's hard to preview the video before you start click play, right? And then it takes a minute, or in this case, it'll take 20 minutes to watch.
Well, it's not the same at all. I think we should not compare, because first, the relationship you get by watching videos is as close as possible to real life, to meeting you, right? And there are some community members of Sismic I know much better than people I met in real life. Much better. When I met them at Le Web in Paris, I knew them already, because we talked so much. It's all about the instant web, so you want it instantly. And this is a big difference to YouTube as well here, is that you post, you record, you stop, it's up. And then you want a notification to everyone that it's up too. So what we have, I'm not technical, but it's all XMPP and PubSub backend. My tech team would explain much better.
Well, that's a protocol that lets you share data with other services in real time. In other words, FriendFeed sucks in XMPP feeds from like Twitter, right? And that's how they get tweets so fast, because they're sucking in that data through that protocol, and you're using the same protocol on the back end so that you can share it with something like your Twirl front end instantly, right?
See, you've explained it all. So basically what it brings is instant. Everything will update at the same time. So it's a notification which is, you don't wait. And so it will show up on FriendFeed because we're there. It will show up on Twirl exactly at the same time, no delay, nothing. So it notifies you instantly. It supports presence. And basically what happened during this phase is we learned to interact with thousands of friends and discover new connections online, which we can't live without. And I think we're entering a new phase. This is where I'm taking risk, which I call the instant web, but it could be, you know, a very different type of description. But I think the most important is you not only want to be with your friends always, but you want them now. Right now, instantly. You want to, it's my favorite example is I did an experiment, is I took my car and I went to Napa Valley, just right there, right? And I asked my friends on Twitter and on Sismic through video, where should I go? And they pointed me to the best wine producers. And then it's super interesting because you get all this feedback live coming, the instant web coming to you, and then it's who is telling it. So for example, Dave Morin of Facebook told me you should go to that winery. And I went straight to this one because it's not only like how much feedback, it's who tells it, right? If you tell me something, I know you a little bit better, of course, I will probably give priority to this. So then I did the same with a restaurant. I said, where should I go and have dinner? And I got like 50 replies back on FriendFeed, on Sismic, and on Twitter. And my friends told me to go to Bistro Gentil. Right? I didn't know. It's a French in Napa Valley. Fantastic. Best steak au poivre ever, even from France. I loved it, and I really recommend you try. But see, I couldn't have had this in any other way. This did not exist just like 2 years ago. And we feel it because we're geek, we're probably early adopters, we're actually building those tools. But I think I may be totally full of shit, but that is going to be huge, and I personally couldn't live without it.
You know that somebody's going to cut out that last 10 seconds and use it on a Lauren Feldman video.
I think instant web will change it completely because it's instantaneous. I don't buy any product without asking my friends first what they think about it. And I made so many good choices. For example, I was about to buy a Kindle. You could have told me, I'm sure, but somebody told me immediately, no, don't, there's a new one coming. So I didn't buy, right? So it changed my behavior completely. Since the very, very beginning, Sismic has in its DNA the fact that it will take time. I could go for a service company and break it even in 3 months. I mean, LoWeb does revenues, right? I had companies that do revenues. With Sismic, what we've tried, we're really going after something difficult. Because now let's face the problems. People are shy. They don't like to show, you know, they're not used to use video like the way you do. You know?
They're not used to doing this, right?
No, and they can, even doing this, they don't do it too much.
We're not culturally trained to do that.
No, but the kids, our kids, you know, I think there is a generation that is coming which will not have the same, which will find it very natural. And so, shy, then your image, right? You care a lot about your image. And then it's just about asynchronous. Asynchronous. I always have problems with that word. But it's not, like live, right? We had this debate many times. You don't need live all the time. If you think about the equivalent in text, Facebook became huge without having live. Live in Facebook is IM, is the presence. They only added it a few months ago, right? And it has not slowed their growth at all. So I think, you know,
talking about Facebook and Facebook gets 100,000 new videos a day. Where is Sismic right now, and are your growth curves the same, or are you growing faster? Are you growing slower?
We have well, slower than Facebook for sure.
I'm just talking about the video. If you're tracking video.
So we had more than 600,000 videos posted on Sismic. There is one every minute right now, because there is what you see on the site and what's hidden. One of the top requests from the users was that they could hide the videos from the public timeline. Because think about real life. Going on Sismic, recording a video is exactly like if you go in a restaurant and you talk to everybody. You don't know them. You can listen to the conversations, but you have to, you know, like stand out. And Same. People are not used to this.
Yeah.
So they want it in groups, pretty much like on Flickr.
And also, if you have kids and you want to take pictures of your kids, you want that for the grandma and for the, your relatives and maybe a close friend or something. You don't want it out in the public where you don't know what's going to happen to that video.
Exactly. So
I'm a weird one there, so I put my kid videos out there.
We're both weird, and we don't mind. And we don't mind, and it ends up on Google and so on. But most people actually do mind. Like Jarline, my wife, who never posts a video, on Sysmic, but she would use it all the time if I gave her like lots of privacy. Yeah. And we don't give enough privacy. We give one-on-one videos. There are many private videos on Sysmic that are posted all day long. Lots of dating, by the way, in there. We don't watch them, but we hear. There has been a wedding on Sysmic. There has been like a few couples being created, and you don't hear about that. For that reason, we're going to launch groups now that we have the new platforms. And this will enable also like video forum type of conversation, which honestly never happened before. So what we're doing is tough. It's not a copycat of anything. There is a lot of education, academics using Sysmic, or starting just to have their students report on what they're doing, their problems, how they, also video profiles, like so that you can learn who is everybody. And they all want private groups. And so we think that the private conversation will actually probably be much bigger than the public conversation on Sysmic, which for you and me is probably less exciting, but we're just...
No, I have private conversations too, I mean, there's some things that you need to do privately out of the public view.
So see 600,000 videos, 1 per minute, that's a lot of videos.
Yeah.
And then you have... So yes, it's growing. Every month after month, we have about 1 million unique visitors on the site based on Google Analytics. And it's growing nicely. It's growing like this. Of course, I'd like it like this, but you have to be there. You have to be there when it does this, right? Yeah. And I think it will happen. Think about Twitter, it took 2 years. Yeah. It took a lot of time. Also, we didn't have the right UI. We changed that. And we just launched, a few hours ago. Everything I see is positive. Well, some people could debate black or white, but we'll add background and we'll...
Since you launched a new feature last night and you got a lot of blog coverage, and I saw it on FriendFeed and Twitter, what blog brought you the most traffic?
It's not a blog, it's actually Twitter that brought the most traffic.
So you agree with Guy Kawasaki when you say you can't live without Twitter then?
Oh,
he says he would rather live without his cell phone than live without Twitter.
I wouldn't say this because there are too many geeks on Twitter. I really like the Twitter communication. I use it all day long, and I would really, really miss it. But it's still geeky. Yeah. It's my geek friends on Twitter. On Facebook, as you were saying yourself, you get something wider, and then I'm constantly reminded that we are too much especially here in this geek environment. At Le Web, we had Vente Privée, this company, and Mythic. They're both doing 100 and 600 million euros in revenues. They are the 2 most successful startups in Europe. By the way, you should see my email on how many people now ask me about introductions to Vente Privée, including the best VCs here. Yeah. Which I'm amazed. I'm proud of that because then I helped take those startups being known. 600 million euro is not even a startup, honestly. No. You know what? They don't know Twitter. They have not heard of it. Yeah. And so that, this is why I like to come back to Europe, because we are really in, and I'm not saying I love Twitter and Sysmic and so on, but we should always think about getting to the mainstream. And they don't use those tools. They didn't use those tools to get the company successful. No. They are focusing on revenues. So there are 2 worlds, right? And it's very
what did they say they did the best to get known and get big?
Oh, you would be very disappointed. Advertising.
Advertising?
Yeah, they did that. And you and I would say, oh, advertising sucks.
No.
Word of mouth.
I make my money through advertising.
All right.
Thank you, Seagate.
Exactly. Thank you, Seagate.
Yeah.
And yeah, right. But the most pure way of getting your product or service known is more word of mouth, right? Yeah. If you think about Google, they've never put an ad up. Have you ever seen a Google ad?
I've seen a few on billboards.
But like nothing, right?
No, a very small amount.
Yeah. So compared
and they
to
didn't do it in the first beginning, right?
No, they had a kick-ass product. I'm talking about Mythic and Vente Privée. Kick-ass product, and they work exactly the opposite as we do. Also, the keynote of Marc Simoncini, the founder of Mythic. So it's the EuropeanMatch.com.
Yeah.
Mythic works very, very well only because it's only paying. Only pay. You can't do it free there. And you know, it's very disturbing because there are so many dating sites which are free. And what he says is, look, the fact that it's paying makes it serious, makes it important. You know, like if I pay $30 to date this girl, it's probably important. So anyway.
It's interesting, yesterday I was talking to Tumblr's CEO, David Karp, and he said the same thing. He said, what if you had a directory of everybody who was using Tumblr that paid $5 a month? Wouldn't that be interesting to be on? Because that would tell people, signal to people that I'm a more serious user of this. And Flickr already is doing that, right? They have a pro account. And when I see somebody with a pro account, I know that they're a little bit more serious about photography than somebody who doesn't have a pro account.
Exactly. So I think this is probably the good news about the recession. There are many bad news, mostly. But there are some good news. And one of the good news, I think, is that we will all get less used about having everything for free. Because we will see and feel the pain of services disappearing. It's already starting, unfortunately. It started by the layoff phase, and now it's the companies disappearing.
Yeah.
And like Mobiz in Europe, I think was a very innovative web TV, international. It's gone. So, and they had a community which loved the content, and it's just gone. So, you know, I think we will miss many services, and we will start again to be ready to pay for some of them. And I think it's actually good news. It's probably good news. The other good news about recession, of course, is like competition gets lower, also has difficulties to get financed. So I think it's a very exciting times right now, but I have to say I feel very, very lucky, of course, because one, I have like the best investors you can think of. We're having a board meeting this morning and confirming.
Give me an idea of some of your investors.
The founders of Skype through their fund Atomico, Niklas Zenström and Janus Fries. We have Pierre Omidyar, the founder of eBay, whom I had met like very quickly, and Pierre showed up in Sysmic by himself, you know. And so for me, it's very interesting that visionaries get Sysmic immediately. Like Pierre, you do new.sysmic.com/Pierre, just that. Go to the very first video at the bottom, and you will see Pierre Omidyar shows up, founder of eBay, and he's like, hi, I'm the founder of eBay, very low profile, he's fantastic. And he starts, you know, explaining then and talking to everyone and getting to meet them and why he thinks this can change the way we communicate. And that's how he invested in Sysmic. He actually sent me a video and then a tweet saying, can I invest? I still have the tweet and the video. But so then we have more than 10 other investors, Steve Case, Ron Conway, who was the first to invest in Google, Jeff Clavier, I won't name all of them, Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. So these are all like, you know, I'm so humbled by them surrounding me, and it's also a huge responsibility because I want to succeed, you know, I want to make this a success, but they all agreed since day one that this is very long term. And
why did they say that? You know, because
I keep saying that
because the stereotype of a VC is we're going to give you 18 months to make 10 times what we're putting into you, and they don't want to give you enough runway to have something percolate and have you find a community and a business. You know.
No, Sysmic, since the beginning we know it's a 3 to 5 years, and that changes everything. Like when you know, it doesn't mean you don't adapt to recession, which we did. You know.
Yeah, you laid people off, right?
We're basically half the size we were 2 months ago.
Now, why did you do that?
Because I adapted the company to not having to raise funds anymore. And so I have now 3 years ahead of me. But now what we're doing in Sysmic is we're adapting ourselves to have more traction than just video. We've been very extreme on like.
So you just said more than just video.
Yeah.
So you're going to do IM and you're going to do other kinds of.
We're going to insert some text in it because we've been very extreme. Like the only way you could create content or interact with Sysmic is video. If you're shy, you can't use Sysmic. right? For example, and that's excluding too many people. So we're basically following the community, and you know how much we've been listening since day one, and we continue to do this. So we're taking it where they tell us to take the product, and they want text. They want text comments. They want, you know, to be able to post more than just Seesmic. You can already post a YouTube video. We're enabling this on the new
Now
site.
this video it wouldn't really fit in on Seesmic, would it? Because it's a longer video. I mean, even if it gets edited down, it'll be 20 minutes or so, and it's the conversations between me and you, not between the community and us.
So this video doesn't really fit in the DNA of Seesmic because, as you say, it's not conversational, but people will comment it, right?
Yeah.
And right now they comment in text. And what I'd like is to have the Seesmic community or anybody be able to comment it as well. So the way we're going to do it is wherever you post it, you can also post it on Seesmic, just the link, right? Imagine Twill. Sit in front of Twill and you see links coming in, right? We could enable those links and show you a preview of the link, and then you can comment with anything.
Other than the real-time web that we've been talking about, what other things do you think people are going to be talking about for the next year? And what do you think when you do Le Web in December next year? What do you think is going to be?
So no surprise that instant web, microblogging, whatever you call it, and online video for me will be big. If I was not doing Seesmic, I would be all into virtual goods. I got a session at the lobby around virtual goods, which was incredible. So basically they were starting to explain how some sites are generate like an advertising network. It used to be the case, like High Media, which is European. It's pretty big. Half of their revenues now are virtual goods. So, you know, like on Hot or Not, you can give a flower, you pay $10 for a flower.
More than a real flower, but
and the flower dies. The virtual flower dies like a real flower. That's very interesting. Also, talking about virtual goods, you have all the user-generated advertising, right? A site that really is terrible in design. It's worse than MySpace before they redesigned. It's called Fubar, F-U-B-A-R.
Yep.
And it's like dating for grown-ups. And if you go there, you will see there's not a single advertising for a brand. What they do is user-generated. So if you want to buy that top corner of the homepage and get exposed to, you know, like more dating and more ego, whatever, you pay $10 for one day, something like this. This is virtual goods as well. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like ego virtual goods. Then you have virtual goods from the games, so World of Warcraft, you know.
But why do you need a startup to do virtual goods? Couldn't you do this in Seesmic? I mean, couldn't Seesmic have all sorts of virtual goods?
No, we will add virtual goods in Seesmic for sure. But I think there will be, like, for example, a platform. Someone should do a platform which is cross-services, cross-sites with the same currency for virtual goods. That, for example, is very exciting. Nobody has done yet. There is this company called Tipjoy. Maybe you know Tipjoy, right?
In fact, I talked about that with Tumblr yesterday. They're partnering with
Very
Tipjoy.
Cool. So I think online video, virtual goods, super exciting. Instant web in general. And then I have to find a theme which is not tech, not geek. So 3 years ago we had politicians, which was the second controversy of the web. The first one being that I started the conference in English in France, which people didn't understand. The second was politicians, right? When we had President Sarkozy, French president, and President Shimon Peres, both of them the same day, and we also had another candidate on the presidential race that created a huge controversy where everybody was going after me, like, your reputation is dead, you know, you will never do the web again, it's all gone, you're ruined, your social software friends are not your friends. And I was like, you know, like hiding for 2 weeks, you know, you remember. And then I wrote this huge post where I recognize all my mistakes and so on, but not this one. I stood still for this one, saying, no, we need to talk to the politicians. And this year again, there was not much, but like the presence of Christine Lagarde, member of the G8, woman of such charisma, was appreciated. I could see the blogs. And next year I'd like to have Spanish, and you know, it's not becoming a Davos. I see the web as my two inspirations. As you know, I'm inspired by two conferences, which are not conferences, which are really world-changing events and communities. Davos and TED.
I knew it was.
Exactly. And those two are not conferences. And I'm not saying like all the tech conferences happening here are not, they're great, but Le Web, I'm trying to do something else which has an impact for change. TED you can feel it. I mean, it's all, you could feel during Chris Anderson's speech at the Web that he's really trying to do something that is an engine to change the world, have people talking together. And I think there is one huge thing that is coming out of the Web, which may be next year's theme. I was talking to Andrew Keane about it yesterday, who is writing about Arrington versus me, US versus Europe. And I think there is a generation which is children of globalization, where you don't care where we are. Look, I'm French, I'm based in San Francisco, I do a conference in Paris, which is international. Like, who cares, you know, about the countries matter less and less. The language you speak matter less and less as long as we understand each other. Like my accent, you don't care much, I hope. It's not where you are, right? And it's more about being global. We learn so much from China and Asia. That's something I'm actually working on a lot. And I'm trying to get the Web into something which will be as important as TED or Davos. You have to think that it took them 20 years to get there. And like we had 3 companies that tried to acquire the Web. We refused. It's successful. So whenever you do something that works, you have, you know, interested like conference organizers and so on. We don't want that. For me, my dream right now would be to have like a worldwide talk show, a virtual conference, like a Le Web going on Seismic all day long, you know, all year long, finishing up with a, you know, with a year conference at the end. But I think this is something which will grow. You will never replace the human, you know, touch, like the dating and all that, which I don't do, right? But I know a few couples that, you know, also got together at Le Web. No, I mean, official, like, you know, singles. But that you can't replace in video.
Love was in the air, right? Well, thanks, man.
Hey, thanks, Robert.
Rocky says we have to wrap it up, so we've been going
otherwise it's going to be a boring video. Anyway, no, you should. I would love if you can put this in. I don't know, but I would love to actually get the feedback from your viewers, like either on Seismic.
Well, I'll be on Seismic, and
excellent.
We'll continue this conversation all year long and see what happens.
Excellent.
So what's the controversy going to be next year?
Well, that we should work on one together. We never had a controversy together.